Okay, part 2. Let's go. We should just start filming like each question and just make each question into a video. What is the best way to pray for discerning your vocation? Or like how do you discern your vocation?
Okay.
So you told us your vocation like story last time. I'm taking this away like you're a kid.
Don't play with your phone.
You told us your vocation story last time and how you kind of discerned through that, but then how would you, I guess, tell somebody my age how to discern that?
So step 1 is God's not trying to make it hard. Mm-hmm. It's not like some escape room you gotta like solve all the puzzles to figure out. Mm-hmm. He wants you to know. Mm-hmm. He also communicates in a way you can understand.
Right.
So he's desires you to know, has plans for you, and it's like, this is everything you were ever made for. This will make you supremely and perfectly happy. Come in this way. And then we are, discerning so hard and complicated, and how could you ever be sure? And I can't hear you. Well, I guess I'll just do this in the meantime.
It's so hard.
So God's not trying to make it hard.
Yeah.
He's the God of all consolation. I don't think this is said enough.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
It's in the Psalms. All through scriptures, you can find it's like he's the God of all consolations. So he's not the God of the cross, right? He's bringing us to the joy of Easter. Mm-hmm. And it's through the mystery of the cross that he's going to use it. But he desires to console us. As in, you know what's wrong with your life? You don't have enough of him in it. Mm. And it's just like, hey, I want this to happen. We bring it to prayer, and his answer 99.9% of the time is, the problem is you don't have enough me in your life. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, yes, but I just want you to get me a pony. But you don't need a pony, you need me.
Yeah, like we're trying to do everything without him, and then we're just like, all right, what do you want me to do with this like one part of my life?
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, great God, that's you. I guess this will do. Like, it's like this is literally everything.
Yeah.
Is the God who made everything that is like not enough. It's like, oh no, but if I had like a little ring, from some like broken person on this planet, well then that'll make everything better.
That's the fulfillment of all my desires.
So I think naming those lies is helpful. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, well, can I trust God with my desires? Mm-hmm. So there's the things that I want, and how do I bring those to my prayer? How do I give those to God in a way that he can speak to those? Mm-hmm.
I've heard like God gives you all the desires that you have. It's just like we try to fulfill them on our own without him, kind of thing. Like, is that true? Like that all our desires come from God?
No.
But my question, I guess, would be, are those like bad inclinations just me trying to fulfill my desires in a wrong way, or is that just a bad desire?
So there's some distinctions we could make. Mm-hmm. So everything that is good because God created it. Sin as a corruption, a distortion, a twisting. It's like, okay, now we're getting alienated from the inherent goodness. Mm-hmm. So insofar as that, I would say, we could say everything comes from God. But, and this is, I think, hugely liberating as well, you and I and everybody else on this planet only sin because we want to.
So you're saying we have free will?
Well, yes. And by definition, a sin is, I know it was wrong and I did it anyway. Then even admitting to myself, like, there's things I want that are messed up. Like, this is...
I'm messed up.
It's just like, why do I want something so terrible for me? Uh-huh.
We do what we don't want to do.
Right. And there might be a part of us that says, like, hey, stop doing that. And we go right back to it. Which brings me to my favorite proverb. Proverbs 26:11. You ready for it? as a fool to his folly is like a dog returning to its vomit.
What? That's what it says?
Like,
I don't think I've ever read that in the Bible.
it is fantastic. Proverbs 26:11.
26:11.
So as a dog returns to its vomit, the fool returns to his folly. There's the vomit you just threw up, and it's just like, hey, let me go back and eat that. Yeah. That's what a dog decides to do if it could make a decision.
That's like God's sense of humor right there.
And that's what we,
you idiot,
as fools, do.
Oh man,
And
this
just
is
like,
accurate.
yeah, no, let me go back to my sin. It'll be different this time. And then we throw it up again, and it's just like, well, let me eat that again. And it's like, that is the cycle of sin.
Mm.
I usually share this with someone who just got out of a bad relationship. It's like, oh yeah, you hate it right now, but just wait. Suddenly that vomit's going to look appetizing. So when I kind of recognize, well, there's holy desires, and they are going to be these deep desires that are really too, as St. Paul would put it, too deep for words. Like this groaning within us that's rising up to prayer, rising up to eternal life. Mm-hmm. Particularly, that's going to be the place of communion in our prayer, in our desire. So when I am trying to discern, it's like, there's my desire to go back to the vomit, and I can bring that desire to my prayer. And is this coming from the Lord? Well, it's kind of a surface level, but that doesn't mean it won't be kind of a string, a thread that goes down to a deeper place in our heart that we can follow to kind of go to those deeper desires. Mm-hmm. So that in any particular moment, there's stuff going on in us. I just saw a meme. It was just like, got all kinds of things on my mind. Then I sit down to pray, and then just like crickets. It's like, well, yes, but it's like if we try to make our prayer of like some alien process that I'm doing, well then, yeah, like, okay, well, if it's supposed to look like this, and I'm in that place, well then it's not going to work. As opposed to at any given moment, there's all kinds of stuff going on in us. Well, as you are, pray.
Like pray with those things that are
pray with it. Good, bad, ugly. It does not matter. But then giving the Lord the space and yourself the space and time to sink to those deeper things going on. And then suddenly like, oh, okay, here's where these like what my heart's really looking for, and giving those desires to the Lord and letting Him speak to those. Mm-hmm. That's discernment in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. Right? It becomes something very real. So when, like we talked about last time, my desire for a wife and family, well, that's how I understood it at the time. And then there was like those deep parts of my heart that was empowering those desires, how I understood it. None of that went anywhere. Mm-hmm. But then suddenly like, oh Lord, like this is how you intended to fulfill that. Mm-hmm. And this is actually like receiving from you what my heart was actually looking for, as opposed to me trying to figure out how to go out and get what I thought would satisfy those desires. Mm-hmm. And so there's a deep, intimate place in me. Can I trust the Lord with those desires? And then if I give them to Him, and then He leads me with them.
So that He gave us our good desires then?
Yes. And that He will speak to them. And He will also purify our desires. There comes a time when the things you used to want, you don't want anymore. And things you didn't really have a desire to do, well, suddenly like, wow, I actually do want this. Mm-hmm. In some ways we can look at like the desire to be holy. And I would say in general, our world today does not have a desire to be holy. Mm-hmm. But if I gave those desires we do have to the Lord, then suddenly like those desires to be holy start coming up. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, wow, I never realized I actually want this. That being holy actually satisfies me on a deeper way than other things. Mm-hmm. But the inverse is also true. That our desires in their distortions are not static things either. Mm-hmm. And then I can go into a path of like more unholy desires. Mm-hmm.